promotion tournament and the Battle of the Atlantic. And before we get to the second game between Dignitas and Alliance, I'd like to welcome back xPeke to talk about what he saw in Game 1. And of course, I'm joined by Trevor here. And the first thing I actually wanted to highlight is that the consensus between us was in picks, Dignitas has made a really solid composition.
Yeah, they really got very strong champions. And I know I was particularly terrified of the Olaf-Shyvana combo with the speed up from Zillion, from Siva, and the speed up from Karma. Seeing potential in a 5v5 had me thinking this game was basically, on paper, in the bag for Dignitas. But they did need time to get. They needed Shyvana and Olaf to get tanky enough to stay alive while chasing down Alliance, and it just didn't really happen.
Yeah, I think the same. They needed to play the early safe, like really safe. They didn't even need to win it. They could lose by some farm, and they will have a still win mid-game. Because at that point, Shyvana and Olaf are so tanky that Nidalee cannot spear them. She's not going to do anything. So they can just run in front of everyone, rush to Nidalee, rush to Lucian, and who's going to stop them with the 600 movement speed they get or something like that.
Yeah, and there you highlight actually what the big problem was for Dignitas coming in that early game. Shook on Analisys just put so much more pressure down, especially on that bottom lane, while Crumbs on Olaf didn't.
Yeah, the first gank from Shook was crazy good. He does the rappel to the creep, and instead of trying to E, he flashed Q out attack to apply the red buff, which means the support was dead, the Kiwi was dead. Even if he flashed, he was dead already, so it was a great gank. They got a kill already, and after that, he kept putting pressure while Crumbs couldn't really do anything. He tried to gank top, didn't do anything. He just walk around and didn't achieve anything.
And don't forget the 2-for-1 as well. You know, a couple minutes later, they just traded support for a double kill on Tabs' Lucian. I mean, he came back into lane. He had that massive BF sword advantage. The culling timed perfectly, and it was little things that just kept getting Alliance further and further ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have a replay that illustrates for me the story of the game really well.
Yeah, actually, the replay that we've got lined up, it is at about 13 minutes on the clock. Let's pull this one up on your screen so you can actually see the lay of the land. And it was this team fight that really sealed the game in my mind as a win for Alliance, because they completely controlled the tempo of it. They stalled out long enough that Dignitas has very little impact. And xPeke, talk us through it. Let's start this replay and tell me what you see.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I feel like Dignitas is not committed enough. They know the Renekton was top. There are 5 guys there, and they are like just trying to poke setup. That's really bad. Like there are 2 guys doing the Drake only. The Gragas is trying to poke a Nidalee that has heal and more poke than Gragas, and they are leaving Renekton time to come back to the fight, which is really bad. So pretty much what they are doing is wasting time, doing nothing, and just wandering around.
So let's carry on with the replay, and as you look on the minimap, you'll see that Wicked with Renektons coming in very close. And I love this little stall tactic by Shook. He goes in with the revive from Zillion, and again, it just makes Dignitas try to focus him, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I think they just got completely baited. Like he went in on the Cocoon on the Sivir, put her super low, and they use everything on her, and they don't hit anything. They just got kited. Plus, people was flashing away from all their skill shots. They didn't do any damage before the fight started, and Sivir was almost dead. Gragas was half HP, and they just kept chasing now.
There is something I definitely want to highlight at this point in the game, is that it's 13 minutes in, and we see a big 5v5 around Dragon at 13 minutes on the clock. We were talking about how the strength of Dignitas' composition was going to take some time to build up, and was going to take a couple of levels and some items for their big 5v5 to work. But it was like a quasi 5v5. There was 5 Dignitas in the middle. Alliance was spread. They came in and out, and I think they played it very well, considering they had the strength at the early stages.
Yeah, they did. They should. I think no. Dignitas should just go with another mentality. Like we don't have to force objectives. We don't have to do anything. We had to go almost equal until minute 20, and then after that, just beat them in teamfights. That's what they do. But they just fight there early. They got poked. They got outplayed in that dragon. Like I think they could have played that much better. And after that, it was over pretty much.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to see if Dignitas can bring it back, if they talk about it, and maybe put some pressure on Alliance in the next game. But now that you've heard what we had to say, let's see how you answered our Twitter question of the day. Of course, earlier we asked you which region will win the Battle of the Atlantic and why. And here's what you had to say. Our first tweet is from @Tarasolol, and he says, Europe will win the Battle of the Atlantic. Both regions are strong, but mentally, the EU players are stronger and perform better under pressure.
It's an interesting statement, I think. I think if you're talking about the mentality of players, seeing how many events and seeing how, to be honest, EU tends to want to brag to be the best. Like whenever we see these events happening, it's always the EU players that are like, we want to beat NA, we want to win, we want the
Double
hype.
Lift never brags.
You know, but I definitely think when it comes to the regional warfare, EU takes a step up. When it comes to individual warfare, I think the Americans beat us in that front.
And our second tweet is from @thatRussianLad. He says, NA will win because Cloud9 Meteos will carry the first place match up to victory with the new jungle changes. Maybe something for Peke.
I think Cyanide will do a lot better than Meteos. Cyanide is playing really good, and I think he will do a lot better.
All right, looking forward to that matchup. And then the last one is @thehillionaire. He says, NA, well, they've had a good history versus Europe, and Bjergsen is bringing over his knowledge of Europe, which TSM can capitalize on.
Yeah, but he's just saying NA is going to win because of a European player. That's a quasi-victory
Yeah,
for
a little
us
win for
anyway. But we'll have to see. They are playing Lemon Dogs tomorrow. I know I'm a little nervous to see how the Lemon Dogs perform, but that unknown factor could definitely play into their favor as well.
Absolutely. Now keep those answers coming. I love me some good smack talk. And remember, we're at LOL Esports, and be sure to use the hashtag LCS. All right, now let's send it over to D-Man and Jad for